Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It is 3:45 in the morning, and that's the control tower at the Appleton International Airport behind me. I've got a ticket on a Boeing 717 to Atlanta, and you're coming with me. Previously on this channel, I flew on the Boeing 717 to Appleton, and I specifically sat in the rear of the airplane for the sights, sounds, and view of the wing and engine. I turned down a free first-class seat to sit back there. This video will be a little different. The 58-year-old Appleton Airport is an operating base for Allegiant Air with 11 destinations, so it was nice to see some of their fleet parked overnight at the terminal. After dropping off my rental car, I made my way to the 1974 terminal, which has been expanded over the decades. American, Delta, and United are the other airlines operating at Appleton, all of which operate with connection service except Delta, which has mainline service. That's what I'll be on today. I had to check one bag at the Delta check-in area before I made my way through security to be closer to the 717 that'll be taking me down to Atlanta today. I like this small terminal. It's quite intimate with just a handful of gates. Since it's so early in the morning, the terminal is nearly empty. In typical Peter Masella style, I arrived so early that none of the shops were even open yet. I had to purchase items from a vending machine until staff arrived at the full-service food establishment. My seat on the plane today will not offer a full meal service, so I want to ensure that I'm full for the flight down to Atlanta. The terminal was very quiet and relaxing this time in the morning, but in general, this is not a busy terminal at all. And just think that I'll be flying from this small airport to the busiest airport in the world. An apple and ton. Get it? Of course I had to check out my gate because why not? My 717's flight number today will be 2008. And of course, since we're in Wisconsin, cheese is available for purchase right here before your flight in the terminal. It's funny how airports excite me. If I saw this in a supermarket, I probably would not be filming this, but we're in an airport, so it's extra special. All right, it's time for boarding in this quiet terminal, and today my seat is toward the front of the aircraft. In my previous video, I purposely sat in the rear to be near the engine and wing, so why not try the front this time around? Of course, the first obligatory thing I do is open the window shade. All right, welcome aboard the Boeing 717. Today I'm in the Comfort Plus cabin. I'm expecting a less noisy experience up here. I won't be able to see the engines like I saw on my flight to Appleton, and the wings are so far back. All I have is a window, but with an unobstructed view this time around. Ahead of the Comfort Plus cabin is the first class cabin, but my upgrade didn't clear for first class, so I'm seated in Comfort Plus. Honestly, I still desired the noise of the Rolls-Royce engines in the back, but I want to try everything on this aircraft type before Delta retires them.
Flight welcome aboard 2008 service to Atlanta, 1 hour 47 minutes en route. Due to the weather down there in the Chicago area, we are expecting a little bit of rough air for the first 20 to 30 minutes of the flight. So anything more than some light bumps along the route, we're going to do our best to get around that weather and keep it nice and smooth for you. Best case, be sure to keep that sign off for as long as we can. Starting out, we're going to have the flight attendants remain safe. That's primarily for their safety. We'll let them up and they'll give you the wonderful Delta service you are expecting. Again, 1 hour 47 minutes. The weather right now, they're calm winds, clear sky, last reported temperature is 78 degrees. Thanks for joining us. Welcome aboard.
We're ready for pushback next to this 7-year-old Embraer 175. The ground crew is in place to make sure that we stay clear of the surface obstructions and we get pushed back onto the Appleton Airport terminal ramp. There are other ramps too, such as the ramp to the local fixed-based operator, Appleton Flight Center, and other ramps such as a ramp leading to the Gulfstream hangar, which we can see here. Gulfstream has a big presence here, focusing on maintenance and painting of some of their aircraft. Gulfstream's headquarters, however, are located in Savannah, Georgia. It was nice that our 717 stopped outside one of their hangars while the tug was removed so that passengers on the right side of the plane could see this massive building up close. Once the tug was removed, we were cleared by Appleton Ground Control to use taxiway Bravo to taxi to runway 21, which is the runway featured in my previous video as the landing runway. We're ready for takeoff, and in my previous video, I let you listen into the sounds of the engine from the back of the plane, so now I'll let you listen into the sounds of the engine from the front. It's comparison time. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here because if you didn't watch my previous video, I want you to listen into the sounds of the 717 while taking off from the rear. Which one do you prefer? Okay, back to this flight. I don't know about you, but I much prefer sitting in the back. I'm glad I got to experience the 717 takeoff from up front, but the rear seat sights and sounds are just exhilarating. This takeoff was just too quiet up here. Let's listen into more of our 717's climb. Our flight needs to head to the south toward Atlanta, and our initial climb takes us southbound near the northeastern shores of Lake Winnebago, which passengers seated on the left-hand side of the plane could see most of. By the way, I likely would have chosen a seat at the left side of the plane rather than this side, but only the right side was available. The left side is the preferred side of the plane because on that side there are only 2 seats together instead of 3 seats on this side, but when it comes to seat selection, the view is more important, so I'll generally pick a side that is going to have the better view based upon the prevailing winds. But, like I said, only the right side was available. As we progressed further south, we flew out over Lake Winnebago, so its western shore became visible to me on this side. That was a nice thing from up here to see, and I'm especially excited knowing that further down the shores lies the Wisconsin city of Oshkosh. Oshkosh is a city with a population of 66,000, and I know it for being the city where the EAA AirVenture Oshkosh Air Show is held each year at the Whitman Regional and Pioneer Airports, which we can see here through the haze. The event is a huge flying convention, bringing in 10,000 airplanes. I flew to this area during a time when the event was not occurring, but it would have been fantastic to attend. Imagine how busy the control tower down there must get. By the way, I am not happy about the scratches on this window, making it hard to film and focus on the view down there. Thumbs down. We've progressed to our cruising altitude, and we're just outside of Milwaukee in the same state we just took off from. Just after that, we can see the northern suburbs of Chicago, Illinois down there, and unfortunately, while over the city of Chicago, there was a cloud cover. There must be a really tall cloud off to the left side because it's casting its shadow on lower levels of clouds below it. Interesting effect. Let's take a moment to hear what the en route phase of flight sounds like being so far away from the rear-mounted engines on this 717. Clouds persisted for the rest of the flight, and I didn't see anything down there until we were on the arrival procedure to Atlanta. This is Rome, Georgia. Rome is named after Rome, Italy, because both cities are known for having 7 hills. Just past Rome, we see Dallas, Georgia. Unlike Rome, Dallas wasn't named for the Texas city, but rather for George Dallas, who was the vice president when James Polk was the U.S. president. Next up is Hiram, Georgia, named after the town's first postmaster. We're approaching the Atlanta airport from the northwest, and we'll land on runway 26 right. So to get there, we'll fly west over the city of Atlanta, which will afford a great view of the airport on this side, the right side. We'll then head out east, turn right to the south, and then back to the west to land on runway 26 right. The Atlanta airport has 5 parallel runways, and they all head in the same direction, making the airport very efficient. Everyone's headed to the west today since the wind is coming from the west. In this fantastic view of the airport, the runway that we'll be landing on will be the closest runway to us. You'll notice down there that there's a plane landing and slowing down on that runway while another plane takes off on the parallel runway next to it. This leads to the ability for arrivals to be completely separate from departures. There's even a taxiway at the far end of the airport for arrivals to circle around the departure runway without having to cross it. What a massive airport this is. Quite a difference from Appleton's airport that we departed from. After passing by the airport, I always like to keep it in sight for as long as possible. Today, we did not go too far out, and approach control gave us right turns quickly to head back toward the airport. For the rest of this approach and landing, I'm going to let you listen into the sounds that the 717 produces from toward the front of the plane. It's not nearly as exciting as sitting in the main cabin in the rear. Yes, I'll take my main cabin seat over Comfort Plus any day on this aircraft type. Now, for comparative purposes, let's watch a clip from my previous video where my 717 lands in Appleton and I have a seat in the back of the plane. It's so much more exciting. Okay, back to this flight as we clear the runway and prepare to go around the loop to get us around the departure runway that we saw from the air. Which landing did you like better? I'll take a small, tight seat anytime over extra legroom in Comfort Plus, just to sit near that engine.
It is our pleasure to welcome you to Atlanta, where the local time is 8:37 a.m. Please stay seated with your seatbelt fastened and your carry-on items stowed until the aircraft is parked at the gate and the captain has turned off the seatbelt signs. Be careful in opening overhead bins to avoid entry from items that may have shifted during flight. You may receive an email from Delta asking you to share your experience with us. We value your feedback and use your responses to continually improve your travel experience. We invite you to download and use the Fly Delta app for all of your future travel needs, including checking in for a flight and managing your SkyMiles account. As you deplane, please remember to look around your seat and make sure you have everything you've brought on board. Our current gate of arrival in Atlanta is C50, C as in Charlie 50, and if you have checked a bag with us today, you can locate your checked bag at baggage claim number 1. I'm going to list off the 2 connections that have under an hour to make it to their next flight. If you're traveling to Daytona Beach, you're going out of A4, A as in Alpha 4. Orlando is A11, A as in Alpha 11. On behalf of Delta and this Atlanta-based crew, thank you for choosing Delta, and we look forward to serving you again on board.
We're on the loop now below the surface level of the departure runway so that departing flights can use the airspace above us to climb out without arriving flights like this one having any interference on them at all. Talk about airport efficiency. Well, this flight is about to come to an end, so I'd like to take a moment to thank you for watching this video, and if you haven't done so already, please watch the video I posted before this one of my flight from Atlanta to Appleton, where I sat in my preferred seat for the noise and wing action. Thanks so much for being a part of this channel, and if you haven't done so already, I invite you to click on the subscribe button below so that you don't miss out on more videos like this. See you soon, everyone.